In this video, we show how to use DB Unload. First, we'll configure the utility in the INI file. There's a number of settings that we need to consider. The better part of the video will be dedicated to the execution of DB Unload in batch mode. We'll explain how to use it to unload data, manage the transport case, and scrub data records post DB Reorg. Finally, we'll start the UI and show how it works. Notice that the current user is the owner of the utilities directory. This is important. In order to execute DB Unload, we have to have rights to it. Let's update the INI file. We move down until we find our first important setting. The output setting stores the path and name of the file resulting from the unload. You recognize the uc_data.txt name. This is the other important setting. We set it to 1 for the utility to work. We can execute DB Unload in batch mode with a variety of functions in mind. Let's start with the data unload process. We head to the DB directory to see our complete file. The file is there. It can be DB loaded to another system. This time, we move all objects system-wide directly to the output file with the -B transport all option. -B transport all performs the entire operation in a single motion. It copies everything to the transport case and then unloads it immediately to a file. Note that -D is always used with transport all, since we want an empty transport case at the end of the operation. -X outputs the data to the name file. Back in AWI, the transport case is now empty. Let's go through the process of running DB Reorg with an unreasonably short cycle of 0. Then we'll unload the flagged records, which removes them. For the sake of time, we'll run the reorg through the UI. Remember that DB Reorg requires a user object, and the no archive check setting in both INI files needs to be set to 1. The flagged records have been removed from the database. Let's start the UI. We'll provide short descriptions for each function. The interface starts. On the left, you see the database tables. They can be selected, and you can apply one of the actions on the right. Exporting all data will output everything to the data file. You're extracting your entire database, which can then be DB loaded somewhere else as long as the database package is the same. The same function exists for selected tables as well. This is the -B normal option in batch mode. Reorganizing the database removes the data flags with either DB Reorg or DB Archive. This is the equivalent of the -B Reorg option. One of the limitations of the UI is the absence of client-specific capability. Reset flags will remove the flags set by DB Reorg and DB Archive. This is the equivalent of the -B Reset Reorg and Reset Archive options. Unloading the transport container, or transport case, means extracting all of the objects placed in transport cases using AWI. This is the equivalent of the -B transport function. You'll be prompted to confirm. Yes unloads cases for all clients. No prompts you for a client, which is the -C option in batch modes. You're then prompted to keep or remove contents of the transport case, in other words, the -D option. If you unload all objects, you bypass the transport case in AWI. This is the -B transport all option. All objects will be moved to the transport case and then unloaded to the file. Again, you get the yes/no client prompt and -D equivalents. Note that the -X option is not available. Your transport case unload is directed to the file defined in the INI configuration file.